Hi everyone, my name's John. I'm from England. I guess the first line of my obituary's already been written in that in 2003, I became the only British person to date who's won the International Mr. Leather contest in Chicago. I was the 25th winner, so I'm known as the Silver IML. And that led me a little bit like Charlie in the Chocolate Factory. I had the golden ticket and I had a year going around the world to kink events. And they all thought it would be funny to do the demo on the current International Mr. Leather. So I got to try out lots of stuff that I think if I hadn't won the competition would have taken me decades to be able to do. And I discovered that was my passion. I've taught kink and BDSM workshops around the world for the last 20 years. Yeah, it's been that long. And then COVID came along and I had to retrain so I could work from home. So I did a diploma in life coaching and I got 2 qualifications in first aid for mental health. And now, as well as teaching workshops online and in person, I do a lot of coaching and one-to-one work over Zoom. So that's me. The topic that I'm presenting is on kink and neurodiversity. And if I just give you a little tip from my life, so the first 20 years of my life, I truly believed that I was heterosexual, because I was raised in a very religious environment and any other sexuality was not an option. So we were all raised to believe we were heterosexual, and that's what I thought I was. I thought every man who had feelings for men was like me, and we were all straight. And then in my 20s, I met a gay guy, and a little light bulb went off. I thought, oh, that's what I am. I'm gay. I'm going to be gay. It's all sorted. I have the big answer. And I tried that for 10 years. I was really bad at it. I'm a terrible gay. I just used to lie very still, waiting for the magic to happen, and it never did. And then in my 30s, I won this competition, International Mr. Leather, and it got me to the head table at kink events. And I discovered what I actually was kinky. That's how I identified. And I thought, great, I've got the answer. Everything's sorted. And for the next 20 years or so, I identified primarily as kinky. And I thought that was my sexuality. And then in the middle of my 40s, I discovered I was autistic. And in working, both doing work for myself and with other autistic people, I've realized how much kink is a place that autistic people tend to be drawn to for a variety of reasons. There's a lot of reasons why a kink environment is an autistic friendly space. I'll just give you one example. We often require our senses to be restored because we might be in a state of sensory dysregulation. And I look back at the number of kink scenes I had where afterwards I would thank the other person and say, thank you, I feel reset. And now I'm wondering how much of kink I was doing because that was my sexuality, and how much I was doing because maybe I was in a state of sensory dysregulation, or it was a way of stimming for my autism. So I have been doing a bit of work over the last 5-10 years on how much am I kinky and how much is this autistic, but also why are neurodivergent people drawn to kinky spaces? And if you wind up playing with a neurodivergent person, what can you do to make sure that this is the best experience possible for all involved? The main thing that I would like everyone to take away is that when we work on inclusion and diversity, everybody benefits. It's not just the benefit of an autistic person. When we change workplaces, for example, so that they become autistic friendly, maybe there's a quieter breakout space where you can work in a pod, or in the canteen there's a place where you're not observed when you're eating. They find that productivity goes up for everybody, because these things that we implement don't just benefit somebody who has a diagnosis. Actually, whenever I've asked for an accommodation, I've always found there's somebody else in the group who's not autistic who leans over and says, thank you for asking for that because I needed it too. So the more we work on diversity and inclusion practices, it's not just for the people who maybe identify a certain way or have a label. It's actually, this is a benefit for everybody. Most excited about any professionals who are coming along, because like I mentioned before, during lockdown, I had some training in life coaching and first aid for mental health. And sometimes it can seem that, especially if you work in mental health, it's almost the most ableist place to be. You know, some of the thinking is I've really been shocked by. And so if there are professionals coming to the conference who are going to learn how to work in a more inclusive way, that has to be better, because you would expect mental health professionals to be like the gold standard. But unfortunately, everyone I work with seems to have a horror story of, a bad experience they had working either in mental health or with a mental health professional. So the more we can spread the word about this and the better we can all be, I think the better the reputation the industry is going to have.